Yes, peace, peace. How's everybody doing? Just want to sit there and take the time out now to talk about our subject matter. You gotta know your peoples. What I mean specifically by me saying that right now is to know the kind of mindset that your peoples have. You understand? Children of Israel, the 12 tribes, no one understand. Them Kemet niggas ain't got your best interests at heart. They use you for money. They use you to get into these debates and never intend on even studying up on their stuff to debate better the next time, so to speak. You understand? They're dealing with folly, madness, and bullshit. These niggas will sit there and say that you said something that you did not say. For instance, when a brother said in 2013 in a debate that Khufu was an evil king, in the debate that happened in 2015, niggas sat there and turned around and said that the brother said Khufu was a Hebrew king. Brother never said that Khufu was Hebrew. Brother said that Khufu was evil. So that's just an example of how people can sit there and try to manipulate stuff. But the average person into the so-called Kemetic stuff is no different really than the religions that y'all attempt to bash. Because you're not claiming to be the people of the Egyptians. Just like people who are Christians and say that salvation of the Jew is of the Jews, but then at the same token say that they're not the Jews who's going to receive the salvation. So basically what y'all doing in that Kemet bullshit is just claiming a civilization that has passed. Now let's explain. To show you that people are trying to reach for straws. The word civilization comes from the Latin word civilis, which means city. So what they're trying to say basically when they talk about a civilization is great architecture and great structures and great written language. They don't want to perhaps be from, for whatever it is, the Watusi or the Pygmy or the other peoples who, quote unquote, don't have a written language, quote unquote. When you speak about many of our people in the Western Hemisphere, they don't, who say that they're from like the Native Americans, they quote who? The Cherokee, the Shoshone, the Apache, the Seminole, so forth and so on. Nobody wants to be the Micmac. Nobody wants to be the Chumash. Nobody wants to be the Narragansett. You understand? Those are other particular tribes that was natives inside the United States or what later became the United States. So now, getting back into the subject matter is the fact that there's a lot of folly and foolishness that's going around. I had to try to tell these Kemet niggas that there's no way in the world you're going to be able to fake love. You can't do that. So all of that, all right, my brother, we're still cool. Nigga, I don't know you from outside of the internet world. So it's not a thing of us still being cool. It's a thing of, you know, you bullshitting. So you got to try to pacify somebody with your bullshit. We ain't cool, nigga. We was not cool. We will not be cool. And I'm going to explain why. I'm a man. I like a woman. You understand? Kemet in their culture and in their artwork, when you look at the walls of like Medinet Habu with Ramses III and so forth and so on, this got penises all over the wall, man. The Middle Kingdom of Egypt had the priesthood of Min. Min was an Egyptian god that showed with his erect penis, man. Talking about that's the sign of fertility. How in the world is having your dick hard a sign of fertility? That's not a sign of fertility. For the sign of fertility is to be able to show that something's been fertilized. And that happens inside the woman, you fucking faggot. You understand? So the concepts that a lot of people try to sit there and bring forth and present, it ain't gonna work. You understand? See, a lot of people flow into that Kemet stuff because it seems to be easier. You ain't got to have set aside times. You ain't got to sit there and acquiesce to certain things. You ain't got no camp, so it ain't like you got to sit there and, deal with the prince of the camp or the leader of the camp or the chiefs of the camp. You understand? You ain't got to deal with that. There ain't no brotherhood. I don't go out and spread knowledge to the people. You don't go out, you understand, and have an organization, unless I'm mistaken, to go and feed the homeless. You understand? Because y'all focus on what you're saying was already done. They built the pyramids. But what about the one who made the earth and had to stand on nothing? So while you amazed at the structure that somebody else did, while you are talking about Ivan Sertima this and Ivan Sertima that, and I know eyes just woke up when I mentioned something about Ivan. Oh shit, he mentioned Dr. Sertima. In his book, Egypt Revisited or Africa Revisited, he stated that the ancient Egyptians did not build the pyramids. Check mark. So now, what happens a lot of times is people don't think perhaps that people are going to check up and read certain things. They categorize the house of Israel as saying, oh, all y'all do is just read the Bible. Nah, you got to twist it. Israelites, stay studying. Watch the videos, be it non-messianic brothers or messianic brothers. Israelites should stay reading some kind of books and some kind of literature and getting into something and reference with that. These dudes are stuck on people who never wrote a book, who are, to be quite candid, freaking intellectual hoes, man. Them dudes in them debates is intellectual hoes, man. They'll debate each other and then supposedly be coming together to sit there as a team. Nigga, you just on some, like the brother K Slay said inside about rappers and whatnot and other DJs. People just trying to go for a platinum fucking plaque, just jumping in the ring like some WWF shit. You understand? They ain't about that underground type of stuff. You understand? And you can tell because they always talk about a civilization that was already built. They're not trying to go and set nothing up already. They're not trying to go and have to put the groundwork in. See, when you get into the scriptures, right? It speaks about when the true house of Israel gets back into the land, and that's how you know the Jewish people, according to the Bible, are not the true house of Israel. It says they're going to have to rebuild the temple. They're going to have to get rid of the idolatry that's in there. They're going to have another war, and all those types of things and so forth and so on. Those Edomites and those sons of Togarmah, the sons of Japhet, mixed in there with the sons of Esau that's in the land there, they not the true house of Israel. So that's why they're comfortable with everything going on up in there, because it ain't their land in the first place. You understand? So now, why is it that when you ask these dudes about that whole Kemet thing, why is it that you got Arabs running that joint? They don't really give an answer because just like the Jewish men don't care about what goes on truly in the house of Israel, the land there, these Kemet niggas over here don't care nothing about what's going on truly in Egypt. Because it's something that they pimping. A pimp gives less than a fuck about his hoe. Slap the bitch up, according to his terminologies and so forth and so on. Disrespecter, you gets nothing, I keeps all. So that's where the point comes down to. Them niggas is not going to go over there and challenge them Arabs about blowing up pyramids, man. Check them news and see what they're talking about doing, man. Whereas there are people of the house of Israel in the land there that stood in front of the European Jews and said, no, we're not leaving. We the true house of Israel. We the true house of Israel. Check it out. It's on YouTube. It's nothing that's being made up. There are Israelites in the land of Israel. You understand? So a lot of these Kemet niggas, man, y'all niggas is fucking agents without even realizing you should be getting paid for that shit. Asking another black man who he is and where you come from and can you take a DNA test? The fuck you asking me if I can sit there and donate my saliva or my blood unless you's a fucking agent, homie? What are you doing with that? When you, heaven forbid, get incarcerated, they take a sample of your blood and your fingerprints. They take your DNA. So these niggas going around asking people and trying to sit there and demand directly, go and take a DNA test. Y'all niggas is agents on the low without even fucking realizing it. Stupid ass. Later, y'all.